DuPont, a distinguished black entrepreneur based in Paris, was well acquainted with the challenges that accompanied his success. His company, celebrated as one of the most promising tech startups in Europe, had recently secured a multi-million-dollar deal, marking a significant milestone. On this particular day, DuPont, known to his friends as Hry, was brimming with excitement. He had dressed meticulously in an Italian-cut suit that accentuated his elegant presence, and his confident smile radiated as he entered the opulent bank where he managed his corporate account. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. The bank's main hall was nothing short of grandeur. Crystal chandeliers cascaded from the soaring ceiling, casting a warm, inviting glow over the space. The walls were adorned with exquisite classical artworks, contributing to the ambience of refined sophistication. Customers stood in orderly lines, attended to by tellers stationed behind sleek marble counters. Hry chose one of the lines, taking in the surroundings with a mix of anticipation and habitual scrutiny. When his turn came, he approached the counter, where he was greeted by Sophie Martel, a teller whose demeanor suggested she was having a particularly difficult day. Sophie, a middle-aged white woman, regarded Hry with a blend of disdain and suspicion. Her blonde hair was meticulously pulled back into a tight bun, and she wore the bank's uniform with an almost militant precision. "How can I assist you today?" Sophie inquired, her tone icily detached and void of warmth. "I'd like to make a significant deposit into my corporate account," Hry responded, maintaining a poised and composed demeanor. He handed her a check, acutely aware of the substantial amount it represented. Sophie accepted the check, but her expression shifted dramatically as she reviewed the figures. "I'll need to verify some information." "Please hold on for a moment," she stated, barely making eye contact before turning away. She began typing furiously on the computer, her fingers moving rapidly across the keyboard. As Hry waited, he noticed the curious glances directed at him from both other customers and bank employees. Although he was accustomed to such scrutiny, it never fully erased the discomfort he felt. A few minutes later, Sophie returned, her demeanor even more suspicious than before. Her gaze was sharp, and she scrutinized Hry with a visible air of skepticism. "Could you please present your identification?" she asked, her tone dripping with exaggerated emphasis, as if she harbored serious doubts about Hry's legitimacy. The implied accusation was clear in her voice. Hry, though growing increasingly frustrated, managed to maintain a calm smile as he reached into his pocket and handed over his ID. His patience was wearing thin, but he remained composed. Sophie took the ID and inspected it with intense, almost forensic scrutiny, as if she anticipated discovering some flaw or discrepancy. After what felt like an interminable wait, Sophie finally looked up and said, "Unfortunately, I'll need you to remain here while I conduct further checks with that." She turned on her heel and walked away, heading towards a group of colleagues. Hry could hear low murmurs and see furtive glances exchanged among the staff members. It was abundantly clear that he was being treated differently from other customers, and this blatant differential treatment was both frustrating and disheartening. The wait stretched on, becoming more excruciating with each passing minute. Eventually, a manager approached. He was a tall, middle-aged man with graying hair and thin, wire-rimmed glasses. His serious demeanor and stern expression suggested that he was accustomed to handling problematic situations. "Mr. DuPont, I'm Michelle Lant, the branch manager. I would like to speak with you in my office, please," he said, gesturing for Hry to follow. Hry, feeling a mixture of irritation and curiosity, nodded in agreement and followed the manager through the office corridors, leaving Sophie behind. Her barely concealed smirk suggested a sense of victory or vindication. The manager's office was a stark contrast to the main hall, opulently furnished with dark wood furniture and adorned with elegant decor. The expansive window offered a sweeping view of the city skyline, a stark juxtaposition to the tension of the situation. Michelle closed the door behind them and motioned for Hry to take a seat. "Mr. DuPont." He began, his voice adopting a more diplomatic tone. "I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience you've experienced. Unfortunately, we've encountered some technical issues and need to verify certain details before we can process your deposit." Hry's irritation was mounting, but he forced himself to remain composed. "I understand the necessity of security procedures," he replied evenly, "but how I've been treated today has been profoundly disrespectful. I hope this kind of behavior is not standard practice at this branch." Michelle's discomfort was palpable. "Not, Mr. DuPont. Please accept my deepest apologies for the way you've been treated. We will address this matter immediately and ensure it is resolved to your satisfaction." After a series of phone calls and additional verification checks, the deposit was finally processed. Hry left the manager's office feeling a blend of relief and frustration. Despite the apologies and assurances, he was acutely aware that the prejudice he faced was not merely an isolated incident but part of a broader issue. As he returned to the main hall, he exchanged a final glance with Sophie. Her surprised expression at seeing him emerge from the manager's office was almost comical. Without acknowledging her further, Hry nodded curtly and made his way to the exit, determined to ensure that the incident would not go unnoticed or unaddressed. Hry DuPont left the bank with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The indignation he felt from the humiliating treatment he had endured was transforming into a powerful drive to confront the prejudice head-on. He was resolute not only to challenge the bias he experienced, but also to leverage the situation as a catalyst for meaningful change. Though he was acutely aware that the journey ahead would be arduous and fraught with obstacles, he was prepared to navigate it with unwavering resolve. After the unsettling incident at the bank, Hry found himself consumed by thoughts of the degrading way he had been treated. As a highly successful entrepreneur with significant influence and a well-established voice, he recognized that he had the resources and the platform to address this injustice. He was determined not to let this episode fade into obscurity. With a sense of urgency, he began to formulate a strategic plan to formally and assertively bring the matter to the attention of the bank's senior management. The following morning, Hry arrived at his office, which was situated in one of the most cutting-edge skyscrapers in Paris. The panoramic view of the city from his office was breathtaking, stretching out to the horizon, but it offered no solace to his troubled mind. As he sat at his grand mahogany desk, he was surrounded by walls adorned with diplomas, certificates of recognition, and numerous photographs capturing both corporate milestones and cherished family moments. Despite the elegance of his surroundings, his thoughts remained focused on the challenge at hand. He picked up the phone and called his assistant, Jay Wes, who was known for his dynamic energy and keen perceptiveness. "Jawez, I need to see you immediately," Hry said, his voice carrying an edge of urgency. Within minutes, Jay Wes arrived at Hry's office, notebook in hand, his demeanor serious and attentive. "Yes, Mr. DuPont. What can I assist you with today?" he inquired. Taking a deep breath to steady himself, Hry began to recount the incident at the bank in meticulous detail. He described the discrimination he faced, highlighting every uncomfortable moment and the sting of the unfair treatment. Jawez listened with rapt attention, his notes capturing every significant detail. His expression reflected the gravity of the situation, and his silent indignation spoke volumes. Once Hry concluded his account, Jawez was quick to respond with a well-considered plan. "We will draft a formal letter addressed to the bank's management that thoroughly details the incident. We must convey the full extent of what happened and stress the immediate need for reform in their diversity and inclusion policies. Furthermore, I propose we arrange a meeting with the bank's board to discuss this matter face-to-face. Additionally, involving our legal department will ensure we are adequately protected should the situation escalate," Jay Wes advised with a tone of firm determination. Hry nodded appreciatively, recognizing the thoroughness of his assistant's approach. "That's an excellent strategy, Jawez. Let's proceed with this course of action. We cannot allow such behavior to go unaddressed." The team set to work, meticulously drafting a letter that not only recounted the incident in precise detail, but also called for urgent and substantive changes in the bank's policies. The letter underscored the need for a comprehensive review and overhaul of their diversity and inclusion practices. A meeting with the board was scheduled for the following week, and Hry dedicated the intervening days to preparing thoroughly for this crucial encounter, ensuring that every aspect of his presentation would underscore the gravity of the issue and the necessity for action. When the day of the meeting arrived, Hry entered the bank's headquarters with a renewed sense of confidence. The building, an architectural marvel, boasted a grand glass facade that shimmered under the bright blue sky of Paris, reflecting the city's vibrant energy. The sheer scale and modern elegance of the structure were a testament to the bank's prominence and prestige. As he stepped inside, he was greeted by a polished assistant who guided him to the meeting room located on the top floor. The meeting room was nothing short of impressive. It featured a long, polished oak table that gleamed under the ambient light, surrounded by plush leather chairs that exuded both comfort and authority. The room's centerpiece was a massive window that offered a breathtaking panoramic view of the cityscape below, showcasing Paris in all its splendor. Seated around the table were the bank's most influential executives, including the CEO, Philippe Durant. Durant, a man with a stern and commanding presence, exuded an air of authority that immediately set the tone for the proceedings. His sharp gaze and composed demeanor suggested he was a person who rarely tolerated dissent. "Mr. DuPont, thank you for coming," Philippe began, his voice carrying an undertone of formality that masked a genuine attempt at conciliation. "We're here to hear your concerns and address them appropriately." Hry took a deep breath and began recounting the incident with meticulous precision. He detailed every aspect of the situation, from the initial encounter to the specific actions and words of Sophie Martel, whose prejudiced attitude had left him feeling marginalized and disrespected. He described the discomfort and humiliation he experienced, emphasizing the profound impact it had on him. As he spoke, he could observe the growing unease on the faces of the executives, their expressions shifting from passive attentiveness to visible concern. "It's unacceptable that in the 21st century, we still have to confront such attitudes in an environment that should be both professional and welcoming to all," Hry asserted firmly. His voice was steady, and his words were laden with conviction. "I expect immediate action to address this issue and to implement measures that will prevent others from experiencing the same injustice." Philippe Durant's discomfort was evident, but he recognized the validity of Hry's concerns. "Mr. DuPont, we deeply regret the incident and the distress it has caused you. This behavior is entirely contrary to the values we uphold as a bank. We are committed to taking swift and decisive action to rectify this situation and to ensure that such an occurrence does not happen again." Despite the apology, Hry pressed forward with his demands. "I am not here merely to receive apologies. I am here to advocate for substantive change. I propose that the bank establish a comprehensive diversity and inclusion awareness program. Additionally, I am willing to contribute as an ambassador for this initiative, leveraging my experience to foster a more inclusive and equitable environment." The executives exchanged surprised glances, recognizing the significance of Hry's proposal. After a brief but intense discussion among themselves, Philippe nodded in agreement. "Mr. DuPont, we accept your proposal with gratitude. We will initiate the development of an awareness program immediately and would be honored to have you lead this initiative as an ambassador." With the agreement in place, the meeting concluded, but Hry understood that this was only the beginning of a much longer journey. He left the bank not only with the satisfaction of having been heard, but also with a newfound responsibility to drive meaningful change within the institution's corporate culture. The road ahead promised to be challenging, but Hry was determined to see it through, confident in the knowledge that his efforts could lead to a more inclusive and respectful workplace for all. Sophie Martel felt a deep sense of anxiety following the incident involving Hry DuPont. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on her mind, and the thought of her forthcoming meeting with the bank's top management only compounded her unease. Her nights had been plagued by restless sleep, consumed by worries about the potential repercussions of her actions. On the day of the meeting, she awoke early, meticulously preparing herself to present an image of professionalism, a quality that had, ironically, been somewhat lacking when she had interacted with Mr. DuPont. As she arrived at the bank, the air seemed charged with a palpable tension. She was promptly directed to a conference room where Michelle Lant, the branch manager, awaited her presence. Accompanying Michelle were two senior bank officials, adding to the room's atmosphere of seriousness. The room itself exuded an air of formal elegance, with its dark wood paneling and the sleek glass conference table that dominated the space. "Sophie, please have a seat," Michelle instructed, gesturing to a chair positioned directly in front of the table. Sophie took her seat, her stomach in knots as she braced herself for what was to come. Michelle's voice, though firm, carried a tone of courtesy as he began to address her. "Sophie, we need to discuss a very serious incident that occurred recently. Your behavior towards Mr. Hry DuPont was unacceptable and does not align with the values of our bank. We require an explanation for your actions." Sophie's throat tightened as she struggled to find the right words. Her voice wavered as she began to speak. I don't know how to start. I was simply following our security protocols when I saw the check amount and noticed that it was from a client I didn't recognize. I thought it best to verify the situation." Michelle cut her off, his tone growing more severe. "Following security procedures is one thing, Sophie, but how you treated Mr. DuPont was discriminatory. He is a valued client and a respected businessman. Your actions appeared to be motivated by personal biases rather than a strict adherence to protocol." Sophie's face flushed with embarrassment, her shame evident. "I'm deeply sorry. I never intended to offend anyone at this point," Claire Fontaine, one of the other administrators, interjected. "Sophie, expressing regret is a start, but it's not sufficient on its own. We need to ensure that such incidents are not repeated. Therefore, we have decided that you will participate in a diversity and inclusion awareness program." Sophie was caught off guard by this development. She had anticipated a more severe consequence, potentially even termination. "Of course, I am willing to do whatever is necessary," she replied, a mix of surprise and relief in her voice. Michelle's demeanor softened as he continued. "Furthermore, Mr. DuPont has been invited to act as the ambassador for this new initiative. He will play a key role in shaping the program and overseeing its implementation. This presents an opportunity for you to learn and grow from this experience." Sophie nodded, her mind racing to keep up with the flood of information being presented. As the administrators delved deeper into the intricacies of the program's structure, she began to reflect more profoundly on her actions and their broader implications. A tumultuous blend of shame and determination swirled within her. Despite recognizing her significant gaps in understanding, she resolved to confront them head-on. Sophie was committed to learning and adapting, driven by a newfound resolve to alter her attitudes and behaviors. Meanwhile, Mr. DuPont embraced his new role as ambassador for the awareness program with enthusiasm and a deep sense of responsibility. He was acutely aware of his duty to leverage his experience and influence to drive meaningful change. Almost immediately following the meeting with senior management, he immersed himself in developing strategies aimed at reshaping the bank's corporate culture. His first official engagement as ambassador was a pivotal meeting with the human resources team. where he laid out his comprehensive vision and strategic plan. The conference room was filled with employees from various levels of the hierarchy, each one eager to hear Mr. DuPont's insights. The atmosphere was charged with a mixture of anticipation and skepticism. As he took the floor, Pry began with a confident and reassuring smile. "Good morning, everyone," he addressed the room, his tone brimming with optimism. "I'm here today because I genuinely believe we have the opportunity to build a more inclusive and equitable workplace. My recent experiences have made it clear that while we have made strides, there is still much work to be done. I'm here to guide us through this transformation." He then outlined a detailed plan, emphasizing the implementation of diversity workshops, mandatory training sessions for all staff members, and the establishment of an inclusion committee to oversee and measure progress. Our goal is not only to educate but also to foster an environment where every individual feels valued and respected. This is a collective endeavor, and everyone's participation is crucial. As he spoke, Pry observed a range of reactions from the audience. Some of the more conservative directors exhibited closed-off expressions, their resistance to change palpable. He was prepared for this pushback and was resolute in his mission. After his presentation, Jack Duo, a senior director with a stern demeanor and graying hair, stood to voice his concerns. "Mr. DuPont," he began, his tone measured yet firm, "while your initiative is noted, we must critically assess whether these changes are truly warranted. Our bank has long been a reputable institution. Why should we implement such significant alterations now?" Pry responded with composure and conviction. "Mr. Duo, even institutions with long-standing reputations can harbor areas for improvement. The focus should not be solely on our past achievements, but on our potential to advance further. It is not about questioning our integrity, but about enhancing our commitment to treating everyone with the utmost respect and dignity." Jack Duo remained silent, his demeanor suggesting he was not entirely convinced. Pry understood that winning over those resistant to change would be a gradual process, but he was undeterred. Over the ensuing months, he and his team encountered several challenges. Some board members remained skeptical, concerned that the proposed changes might disrupt the bank's traditional culture. Nevertheless, Pry stayed resolute, supported by an expanding group of employees who began to appreciate the importance of diversity and inclusion. As Pry DuPont worked diligently to effect cultural change within the bank, Sophie Martel embarked on her journey through the Diversity and Inclusion Awareness Program. Initially, Sophie was reluctant and felt a profound sense of humiliation at being required to participate in what she perceived as an unnecessary exercise. To her, it felt like an exaggerated reprimand rather than a constructive opportunity. The early sessions of the program were conducted by diversity experts who shared powerful personal narratives about experiences of discrimination. The setting was designed to be inviting, with chairs arranged in a circle to promote a sense of equality and openness. The room's walls were adorned with posters celebrating cultural diversity and featuring inspirational stories of overcoming adversity. During the inaugural session, Sophie was introduced to stories that deeply challenged her preconceived notions. One of the speakers, Amara, a Black woman and human rights lawyer, began her presentation by recounting the numerous instances of discrimination she had faced. Her voice was imbued with emotion as she shared her experiences. "From a young age, I understood that my skin color led to different treatment from others. Classmates would avoid sitting near me, and teachers seemed to hold lower expectations from me," Amara recalled, her voice trembling slightly. "As an adult, I've lost track of how many times I've been followed around stores or met with suspicion in places where I should feel safe." As Amara shared her insights, Sophie found a lump forming in her throat, her emotions stirred by the speaker's powerful words. The experiences recounted resonated deeply with what Pry had likely endured that day at the bank. For the first time, Sophie began to seriously question her attitudes and deeply ingrained prejudices. The session marked a pivotal moment in her self-reflection. In a subsequent session, participants were divided into small groups to discuss their personal experiences. Sophie found herself in a group with Karim, a Muslim man who worked in the bank's department, and Elena, a transgender woman who had recently joined the customer service team. Karim began to speak about the prejudices he encountered daily. He recounted how he was often met with suspicious glances and faced ignorant comments about his religion. People assume the worst about me simply because of my faith. It's deeply painful because my religion fundamentally teaches peace and respect for all people, he shared, his voice tinged with the weight of his experiences. Elena, in turn, opened up about the trials she faced living her authentic self. The journey through my transition was long and fraught with challenges. Even now, I face prejudice regularly. However, I've learned to embrace who I am and to be resilient. I work here because I believe in the fundamental principle that everyone deserves respect, regardless of their identity, she explained with a sense of resolve. Sophie listened intently, and the stories of Karim and Elena struck her profoundly. She began to understand that her previous attitudes and biases were not just harmful, but rooted in ignorance. This realization brought a surge of shame and guilt as she grappled with the notion that she had failed to recognize these issues sooner. As weeks went by, Sophie's approach to the awareness sessions evolved. She became more engaged, asking thoughtful questions, striving to better understand the experiences of others, and reflecting deeply on her attitudes. Gradually, the awareness program was fostering a significant transformation within her. At the same time, another story of change was unfolding at the bank. Marie, a young intern brimming with ambition and hope, observed the sessions with keen interest. Inspired by Hri's impactful work and moved by the stories shared, Marie felt compelled to contribute in her way. With her curly brown hair and eyes full of determination, Marie came from a modest background and had always aspired to use her position to create opportunities for those who faced challenges similar to her own. During one of the awareness sessions, an idea sparked in Marie's mind. After much contemplation, she approached Hri after a meeting. "Mr. DuPont, may I have a moment of your time?" she asked, her voice tinged with nervous excitement. "Certainly. What's on your mind?" Hri responded with an encouraging smile, sensing the importance of her request. "I've been reflecting a lot on how we can extend the opportunities that have been made available to me. I'd like to propose a mentoring program specifically for minority students. I believe it could have a significant impact and align well with the positive changes we're aiming to implement here at the bank," Marie said, her voice steady and determined. Hri listened with genuine interest, feeling a swell of pride as he recognized Marie's passion and commitment. Her initiative reminded him of his early days of striving to make a difference. "Marie, that's an excellent idea. I'd be delighted to support you. Let's work together to develop this project and ensure it reaches its full potential," he affirmed, eager to help turn her vision into reality. With Hri's steadfast support, Marie embarked on the intricate process of structuring the mentoring project. Together, they meticulously planned and organized a series of meetings with local schools and charities to identify students who could greatly benefit from the program. Hri leveraged his extensive network and influential contacts to recruit a diverse group of business professionals and other experts who agreed to volunteer their time and serve as mentors. The initial stages of the project proved to be quite challenging. The bank faced resistance from some departments that were skeptical of the new initiative. Meanwhile, Marie struggled to juggle her responsibilities as an intern with the demands of implementing the program. Despite these hurdles, Hri's mentorship and the increasing support from the bank's staff gradually began to propel the project forward. The culmination of their efforts was marked by a grand launch event held in the bank's main hall. The space was vibrant with colorful banners and filled with an air of enthusiasm and anticipation. students, mentors, and bank employees gathered to celebrate the beginning of this transformative journey. Hry delivered a stirring speech that resonated deeply with everyone present. This project represents more than just mentorship. It's about creating opportunities, unlocking potential, and forging a future where everyone has the chance to achieve their best. I'm honored to be a part of this and excited to see the positive impact we will make together. As Hry spoke, Marie was overcome with a profound sense of pride and gratitude. She felt assured that their hard work was steering them in the right direction, and that their commitment had the power to bring about meaningful change in many lives. Hry DuPont's initiative began to profoundly influence the bank's internal culture. Initially, the changes were subtle and barely noticeable, but as the awareness and inclusion programs gained momentum, their effects became increasingly apparent. Hry dedicated himself wholeheartedly to his role as ambassador for the initiative. He passionately promoted a variety of workshops, lectures, and activities designed to encourage employees to examine their attitudes and assumptions. The training sessions were crafted to be interactive and engaging, featuring role-playing exercises, real-life case studies, and open discussions aimed at fostering understanding and empathy among participants. Over time, employees began to show greater openness to engaging in challenging conversations and addressing their own biases. Hry observed a noticeable improvement in team dynamics, characterized by increased collaboration and a sincere interest in appreciating diverse perspectives. One day, Hry received a heartfelt letter from Sophie, a participant in the diversity program. In her letter, she conveyed her deep gratitude for the opportunity to be involved and the support she had received. "These sessions have been incredibly enlightening," Sophie wrote. "I've come to understand the importance of confronting our prejudices and striving for a more inclusive environment. Thank you for allowing me to grow and for helping me make a meaningful difference." Hry was deeply moved by Sophie's letter. It was a clear indication that, while the journey towards transformation was ongoing, tangible progress was being made. Each step forward was a testament to the dedication and commitment of everyone involved in the initiative. Marie's mentoring project continued to flourish, with numerous students benefiting from the guidance and support provided. The bank's efforts in promoting diversity and inclusion began to attract recognition from external organizations, further enhancing its reputation. The path to change was complex and fraught with challenges. But Hry, Sophie, and Marie were resolute in their mission to make a difference. They understood that fostering a more inclusive and equitable environment required ongoing effort, but they remained committed to their cause, hopeful for a future where every individual could feel valued and respected. The event was attended by employees from all corners of the bank, each eager to hear Jean-Pierre's insightful words. Jean-Pierre was a charismatic figure with a commanding presence and an exceptional ability to captivate his audience. "We must remember that inclusion is not merely a moral issue but an economic necessity," he stated. "A diverse and inclusive work environment fosters innovation, boosts productivity, and attracts top talent." His words resonated with the audience, who nodded in agreement, fully acknowledging the importance of this new perspective. But change begins with each of us, with the willingness to listen, learn, and grow. Henry observed the reactions of the employees with a growing sense of satisfaction. Although he knew that cultural transformation within the organization would be a gradual process, the signs of progress were becoming increasingly apparent. More employees were beginning to actively support the cause, participating in the initiatives, and sharing their own stories of overcoming adversity. This burgeoning change did not go unnoticed by the media. Newspapers and magazines started to highlight Henry's work and the ongoing transformation at the bank. Articles and interviews began to commend Henry's courage and determination in confronting prejudice and championing inclusion. The bank was increasingly being recognized as a model of social progress, and Henry's contributions were being widely acknowledged. One afternoon, Henry received an unexpected call from a reporter at France's leading economic newspaper requesting an exclusive interview. Seeing this as a valuable opportunity to further the impact of his initiatives, Henry agreed. The interview was scheduled to take place at an elegant cafe in the heart of Paris, a venue known for its sophisticated ambience. The cafe boasted marble tables, plush velvet chairs, and the enticing aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air. Henry arrived promptly at the cafe and was greeted by the reporter, a young and enthusiastic journalist named Louis Bernard. "Mr. DuPont, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've been following your work and am eager to delve deeper into your motivations and the challenges you've encountered," Louis said, extending a warm smile. Henry returned the smile and nodded. "Thank you, Louis. I appreciate the opportunity to share our journey. It's crucial to demonstrate that meaningful change is achievable even within the most traditional institutions." The interview spanned nearly 2 hours, during which Henry recounted his experiences, the obstacles he faced, and the milestones he achieved. He emphasized the importance of support from both employees and the board, as well as the necessity for persistence and resilience in driving change. The following Sunday, the article appeared with the headline, "Cried DuPont the Entrepreneur Who Transformed a Traditional Bank's Corporate Culture." The feature detailed Henry's efforts and the bank's evolution, celebrating his visionary leadership. This high-profile exposure drew even more attention and support for Henry's initiatives. Other banks and companies began reaching out, eager to seek his guidance and replicate his success. Despite the positive momentum, Henry knew there was still much work to be done. Sophie Martel was undergoing a significant personal transformation as well. The Diversity and Inclusion Awareness Program compelled her to confront her own biases and reassess her attitudes. Initially resistant, Sophie eventually found herself deeply affected by the stories and experiences shared during the program. After months of reflection and growth, she felt compelled to take concrete action. She resolved to apologize to Henry DuPont, not merely to alleviate her guilt, but to demonstrate her genuine commitment to change. One day, following an especially emotional session of the program, Sophie gathered her courage to approach Henry in his office. She understood that he would likely be busy, but hoped he could spare a few moments for her. When she arrived at Henry's office, she was greeted by Jules, Henry's assistant. "Mr. DuPont is currently in a meeting, but I can let him know you're here," Jules said with a friendly smile. "Thank you, Jules. I'll wait here," Sophie replied, settling into a chair in the reception area. As she waited, her anxiety mounted, her hands were clammy, and her heart raced with apprehension. After what felt like an eternity, the door to Henry's office opened, and he emerged, engaged in conversation with a colleague. "Mr. DuPont, Sophie is here to see you," Jules announced. Henry looked towards Sophie, surprised, but greeted her with a kind smile. "Sophie, of course, come in." "What can I do for you?" Henry said, his tone warm and inviting. Sophie entered the office, her legs trembling slightly. The space was elegantly appointed, with a large window offering a breathtaking view of the city. Henry gestured to a chair and took his seat behind his desk, awaiting her words with patience. "Mr. DuPont, I wanted to offer my sincere apologies," Sophie began, her voice quivering. "My behavior during your visit to the bank was unacceptable. Since then, I've been deeply involved in the Diversity and Inclusion Awareness Program and have come to understand my prejudices more clearly. I am truly sorry for my actions and the impact they may have had." Henry observed Sophie with a keen sense of appreciation, recognizing the genuine remorse in her voice. "Sophie, I want to thank you for coming forward and apologizing. Your willingness to confront your past mistakes and seek change is truly commendable. We all err, but the crucial part is our ability to learn and grow from those experiences." A wave of relief washed over Sophie as she heard Henry's supportive words. "Thank you, Mr. DuPont. I genuinely want to contribute more. If there's any way I can assist with the inclusion initiatives, please let me know. I'm eager to help." Henry's eyes brightened with the prospect of further collaboration. "Sophie, it's encouraging to hear your enthusiasm. We need dedicated individuals like you to drive this transformation. I would like you to take an active role in our inclusion initiatives. Perhaps you could start by coordinating some of our upcoming workshops." Sophie felt a surge of gratitude at Henry's offer. "Thank you for your trust in me," she said with sincerity. She eagerly embraced the opportunity, diving into her new role with enthusiasm. She began working closely with Henry, assisting in organizing events and workshops and contributing her insights and experiences. Her journey of transformation began to resonate with her colleagues, demonstrating that change and growth were indeed possible. To celebrate the significant strides made in transforming the bank's corporate culture, the institution decided to host a grand gala event. This occasion was designed to honor Henry DuPont's efforts and recognize the collective contributions of everyone involved in the cultural shift. Anticipation for the gala was high, and those who had been part of the journey were excited to see the culmination of their hard work. The preparations for the event were executed with meticulous attention to detail. The venue chosen was one of Paris's most prestigious banquet halls, renowned for its opulence. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, their light casting a warm glow over the room. The walls were adorned with intricately carved wood panels, and the ceiling was embellished with classical frescoes. The tables were elegantly set with exquisite flower arrangements and polished silver cutlery, creating an atmosphere of sophistication and celebration. On the evening of the gala, guests arrived in their finest attire. Men donned sharp tuxedos, and women graced the hall in flowing gowns. The room buzzed with excitement as waiters glided through the crowd, offering champagne and gourmet canapes. The ambience was filled with pride and festivity. Henry DuPont made his entrance, accompanied by Jules and other key members of his team. He wore a flawlessly tailored black tuxedo and exuded an air of confidence and serenity. As he moved through the hall, he was greeted with warm smiles and expressions of gratitude from colleagues and friends. The night was a testament to the transformative journey the bank had undergone, celebrating the positive changes and the collective efforts that made them possible. The highlight of the evening was Henry's speech, a moment eagerly anticipated by everyone in attendance. As he ascended the illuminated stage, he surveyed the sea of attentive faces, taking a deep breath to fully grasp the significance of the occasion before beginning to speak. "Good evening, everyone. It is truly an honor to stand before you tonight and celebrate the incredible progress we've achieved together. When we embarked on this journey, we were aware of the challenges that lay ahead, but we also understood the importance of our mission. Looking out at this gathering, I am filled with immense pride for each of you and the strides we've made." Henry reflected on the various initiatives that had been introduced and the results that had been accomplished. He spoke with enthusiasm about the transformative impact of the awareness sessions, the establishment of the Inclusion Committee, and the overwhelmingly positive response from employees. Our journey does not end here, rather. It marks the beginning of a new chapter. We will continue to collaborate and push forward, ensuring that our bank stands as a shining example of diversity, inclusion, and respect. Following Henry's stirring speech, Sophie Martel was invited to the stage. Her journey and active involvement in the inclusion initiative served as an inspiring testament to the effectiveness of the program. "When I embarked on this path, I had no idea just how much I would learn and grow," Sophie began, her voice tinged with emotion. "I confronted my own biases, and with the support and guidance of many individuals here, I am evolving for the better. Thank you all for giving me the chance to redeem myself and contribute to this transformative effort." The applause that followed was warm and extended, a genuine acknowledgement of Sophie's efforts and growth. As she descended from the stage, she was overwhelmed by a surge of gratitude for the acceptance and encouragement she had received. Marie, the young intern who had spearheaded the mentorship project, was also celebrated. Henry invited her to the stage, recognizing her initiative and commitment. Marie displayed remarkable courage in proposing a new initiative and showed unwavering determination to bring it to fruition. Her mentorship project is already making a meaningful difference in the lives of many students, and we are immensely proud to have her as part of our team. Marie, visibly moved by the recognition, expressed her thanks with heartfelt sincerity. This project represents a dream realized, made possible by the support of everyone here. I am committed to working tirelessly to ensure that more young people have access to the opportunities they deserve. The evening reached a crescendo with a significant announcement from the bank's board. Philippe Durant, the CEO, took to the stage and addressed the audience. In recognition of Henry DuPont's exceptional contributions and the positive impact of his initiatives, I am thrilled to announce that our bank will implement a new zero-tolerance policy against discrimination, inspired by Henry's dedication and efforts. The announcement was met with deafening applause, underscoring the collective appreciation for Henry's work. Philippe continued with a warm and appreciative tone. To honor Henry's invaluable contributions, we are delighted to invite him to join our board. His vision and leadership are essential to our future endeavors. Henry accepted the invitation with visible emotion, the sense of accomplishment evident on his face. The night concluded with an atmosphere of hope and optimism. Despite the many challenges faced, the progress achieved was a testament to the possibility of change driven by determination and commitment. As the gala drew to a close, a pervasive sense of achievement and anticipation filled the hall. Guests mingled and shared stories of personal transformation while expressing excitement about the bank's future. It was evident that Henry DuPont's initiatives had made a lasting impact on the institution. Philippe Durant remained at the center of the festivities, engaging with guests and colleagues. The mood was one of unity and celebration, with everyone looking forward to the ongoing evolution and success of the bank. The night was a testament to the power of collective effort and the promise of continued growth and improvement. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the transformative story of Henry DuPont and the bank's evolution towards a more inclusive and progressive environment. We've explored the challenges faced, the personal growth achieved, and the remarkable changes that have made a significant impact. As we wrap up, we'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from this story? Is there a particular insight or lesson that resonated with you? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know one thing you plan to bring into practice in your own life. If you like this video, please leave your comment and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to connecting with you again soon.